What's up, big
And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Jump into Crypto, episode 1324. Today is Friday, April 11, 2025, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto. Most days, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m.-ish. Today's top stories: Trump signs resolution killing IRS DeFi broker rule. That's right, shots have officially been fired. U.S. Senate confirms Paul Atkins to lead SEC under Trump. SEC drops suit against Helium for alleged securities violation. Jack Dorsey pushes Signal to adopt Bitcoin payments. And 21 shares files for spot Dogecoin ETF in the United States. It is officially on and popping. That and much more. But first, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at today's prices. And of course, if you haven't been paying attention, the market has already rebounded for the most part. So a lot of people who are worried, there's no reason to be worried. Bitcoin's coming in at $82,979, up 2.25%. Ethereum at $1,572, down up 0.05% just now. XRP $2, up 0.19 on 24-hour clock, of course. Number 6, Solana, $120, up 6.6%. Dogecoin, number 8, 15 cents, up 2.4%. Number 9, Tron, 23 cents, down 0.8%. And number 10, Cardano at 62 cents, up 1.84%. Fear and greed index is at a 21, and Bitcoin dominance is at a 62.7, and Ethereum dominance is at 7.2%. Like I said, I do not see it coming back, even if the price increases, because it is officially time to start moving that portfolio around 7.2%. Folks, Ethereum cannot take another dip. It's if it, I told you, if it hits 6, once it, not even if it's at 7.2, once it hits that 6.9, oh, that thing is going to slide all the way down to 6.7, 6.5 in no time. So, again, I mean, nah. Hey. Goodbye. It was been a great time, Ethereum. All right, let's go ahead and take Ethereum dominance officially off of Coin Market Cap. I don't know. We'll see if they can survive another cycle, but it doesn't look like it is possible for them. But we shall see, at least being in that top 2 to 3 at least. I mean, I think they might be getting moved up out of there, but that remains to be seen. We shall see. Shout out to all the warriors in the chat. Let me go ahead and get the comments up. Billy Crush, BK Crypto, Bitcoin Chris, Satoshi Slim, Romero, Eric, it was Eric C, Nerd Up, Illmatic, Crypto, JB, if you know, you know, Super Mario, Dearbit, Les Square, New Jersey is in the house, Kinez Martis, Wisdom Bars, good morning, welcome back to the show. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Top story of the day, you already know. Listen, Trump said he's gonna stay in this crypto news cycle. All right. Hey, he said we got a deal. I told y'all I got y'all. Y'all told me y'all got me, and we're gonna be doing this 360 dance nonstop. Okay. He is staying in the news cycle this time with maybe one of the first few federal legislative actions taken in this market. Ohio Representative Mike Carey said the resolution to kill the IRS rule also marks the first time a crypto bill has ever been signed into law. Yeah, they are saying that. And that's Trump signs resolution killing IRS DeFi bill. And really quick, folks, who's been screaming to you to slow down on this whole tax thing, right? Who's been the one screaming it? I mean, the writing is as clear as day. He being the president and the administration cannot operate as they've been operating, frankly, because they're kind of in the mix too. Again, he has his own meme coin, wife got a meme coin, all these other meme coins, and all of this, or many of these meme coins and things, are being done on the DeFi side of the house, or partially DeFi. So to me, this is par for course. Not only this rule, I'm expecting more legislative guidance coming for the time. I thought we get more by now. I do know, again, the IRS is harder to challenge, a tougher thing to challenge. By this time next year, I think we'll see 2 other actions against the IRS when it comes to crypto. I truly do. I think they will be for crypto, and I think you might see things along the lines of, unless we're talking 100K, 200K plus, why are we talking about tax? I think we'll start to see legislation. Not saying it's going to get passed, but I do think we'll start seeing legislation this time next year that will be going out the pipe. That's like, well, what are we even doing as far as taxing this fake money anyway, right? Because do we tax every crypto? Do we tax Farts Coin? I see Farts Coin is actually moving up in the list today. I told you all this will happen around the same time as we're getting Dogecoin ETF, okay? Seriously, Trump is going after the IRS. If you didn't see this coming, hey, you might be Stevie Wonder blind. All right, stop making opinions. You don't know what you're talking about. This was an obvious tell. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed a joint congressional, both sides out resolution overturning a Biden administration era rule that would have required decentralized finance protocols to report transactions to the IRS and effectively even making them DeFi, right? If you have what's supposed to be a DeFi platform reporting to the IRS, you are not DeFi whatsoever. Set to take an effect in 2027, the so-called they even calling it the so-called. This shit is over. The so-called IRS DeFi broker rule would have expanded the tax authorities' existing reporting requirements to include DeFi platforms, requiring them to disclose gross proceeds from crypto sales, including information regarding taxpayers involved in the transactions. Again, gross overreach on the DeFi side of the house. Is not just Americans sharing those platforms. It's a global economy. A, B, they don't actually sell crypto on there, right? You can swap them in the DeFi platforms. There's not many DeFi platforms selling crypto. Most of the ones that do, they actually make you do KYC AML. So again, they're talking about you just having a wallet. And then it looks like here Trump formally killed the measure by signing off the resolution on April 10th, marking the first time a crypto bill has ever been signed into law. Representative Mike Carey, who backed the bill, said in a statement, quote, the DeFi broker rule needlessly hindered American innovation. Shout out to that statement. That's true. Infringed on the privacy of everyday Americans and was set to overwhelm the IRS with an overflow of new filings that it doesn't have the infrastructure to handle during tax season. I mean, just makes perfect sense. Stop trying to penny pinch and pocket watch every nickel and dime that goes through. I got a better idea for the folks over at the IRS and every other government or private agency who wants to watch everybody's money. Go make it yourself. I guarantee if you go start making your own money, you will not have time to watch what other people do with theirs. It's so crazy how that works, right? But yeah, critics of the rule claim it will lump decentralized platforms with too onerous rules, hampering innovation in the crypto and DeFi, which it already has. Again, the title's in the headline. The president, bipartisan, everybody's saying this shit was crazy. And as you can see here, industry can breathe again with IRS rule repealed. This to me is just the starter. All right. The cake hasn't even been baked yet. This is the batter, and we just tasted the first. Oh, what you here making? No, I just accidentally, I didn't know what that was. What you got some? What is this? A good little the cake batter is just being whipped up, folks. We ain't even put it in the oven yet. The I the IRS is getting it. Okay. They were a part of the collective part of the last administration to essentially put the current president in the chokehold, right? That whole hey, unbank him, hey, legally go after him for lawsuits, hey, go after him for laws he may have broken. Hey, the IRS was in on that too, saying, well, let's see if he's been cheating the tax man. You remember that whole year and a half, 2 year investigation of them trying to prove his tax returns, approve his taxes, or whatever else, which I, for one, didn't care for as well, because, like I said, when you're making money, you're not watching other people's. But you remember that whole 2 years of them saying, we're going to pull up your old tax returns and tax to tax. That's the IRS. You are crazy if you didn't think he'd been loading that gun up, waiting to bust back. He most certainly has. He just isn't all the way as dumb as you all think, or at least the administration. They know the IRS is different than the SEC, the CFTC. They got the money. Whenever you got the money, you got a little bit more power and strength. They have to be a little bit more strategic. But I'm pretty sure here, I'm telling you from a fundamental point of view, I think this is the first of a couple. And I won't say of many, but definitely of two or three actions that are going to be going toward the IRS. Like I said, I thought we get one already this year. I knew it would be difficult just coming in. You only having 3 or 4 months of work before tax time. But I'm putting my money on this time next year. Expect the IRS to get a blow from crypto, like the same type of blows the SEC are getting right now, where they're being paraded around, apologize for everybody and withdrawing everything, just looking like fools. Expect that from the IRS. Now, what's going to get real crazy is, and I don't think this is going to happen, but what would get crazy if Trump even goes retroactive with it? Like, no, no, no. Not only are we going to stop this crypto IRS thing right now, but we're going to go back in the land of time, like same way the IRS and SEC went back in the land of time and refund people. Now, I don't think it's going to go that far. That's the type of stuff that gets you JFK. I don't think he's going to make the IRS refund crypto enthusiasts for the last few years, but I do think the buck is about to stop now, at least for the next 2 to 3 years until the next administration come in. Like, oh, why are we not taking money from a multi-billion-dollar, almost $1 trillion market or whatever? No, we're going to get a piece of this. So at least for the short term, I think we'll be safe. And again, this is, I mean, No president has really had the gumption to come after the IRS and say, no, we're stopping you. We're not allowing this. Instead, you've seen every president, for the most part, empowering them. So, not only the first official federal crypto law signed into legislation, but also, to me, one of the first and most powerful shots toward the IRS from the presidential administration in modern terms and modern times as well. So, remains to be seen, like I always say, what's going to happen. I think we're on a good trajectory. This was great to see because now, at the very least, it protects us on the DeFi side of the house. Like, whew, whew. And if you know, you know. Right now is way more, I won't say on the surface, right? Because institutions are on the centralized side of the house, the Coinbases and things of the world. But the volume on the DeFi side, I would almost argue is just as real, if not realer, than the traditional side. And what I mean by that is the DeFi markets are moving. Like they are moving, folks. Like it is capital, money, liquidation. There's all types of stuff going in these markets. So I will argue it's just as strong, if not stronger, especially for the retail market, as you do see on the centralized side of the house. So this is amazing. This is great for portfolios. I'm happy to see it happen. And hey, let's not play dumb. You think BlackRock and some of these other institutions aren't on the DeFi side of the house quietly? They didn't want that. Listen, they didn't want that file to get pulled either. They didn't want the IRS to go to one of these DeFi exchanges like, wait, you been getting 300 million from who? It's like, yeah, it gets deep, don't it? You don't want that money to be recounted or retraced. So again, I think this is a net win for the entire industry and everyone who's ever been interested in this industry as well. All right, with that, let's stay in the administration. U.S. Senate confirms Paul Atkins to lead SEC under Trump. I mean, I think a lot of people saw this coming after those softball questions they were asking him for the most part when they had like the confirmation hearing. But Paul Atkins has officially been approved as chair of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission after receiving a 52-44 vote in the Senate on April 9th. Ooh, who's voting against him? I wonder. The U.S. Senate has confirmed U.S. President Donald Trump's nominee, Paul Atkins, as chair of the SEC in a 52-44 vote, largely along party lines. His confirmation on April 9th comes after Trump named the pro-crypto former Wall Street consultant to lead the agency late last year. Atkins also served as an SEC commissioner between 2002 and 2008 during the global financial crisis. I would not trust anyone in that position during those years, but hey, fail upwards. That's the American way. A veteran of our commission. They even say a veteran of our commission. My man's was there leading up to the global financial crisis and then left as it started. Hilarious. A veteran of our commission. We look forward to him joining with us along with our dedicated staff to fulfill our mission on behalf of the investing public. That's right. You're going to look out for the investing public. The agency's commissioners wrote in the April 9th statement. All right. I'm not going to go into detail and do the whole circle jerk, clap on the hands on, clap on the back and everything like that. Like, I already know what it is. We all know what it is. Here's the deal. Trump got his boy in as the SEC commissioner. The SEC commissioner is a multimillionaire, possibly even edging on billionaire when you look at his crypto stuff, which he doesn't tell anyone about because he doesn't own any, right? I think that's what he said. You got another billionaire doing a public position. I mean, when is America going to wake up, by the way? Listen, you think a billionaire wants to wake up to do a service job, wants to volunteer. The American politics and military is service. Their service jobs is volunteer work. But yes, we are to be made believe that all these billionaires want to wake up and work. I can't even say with a straight face. All the billionaires want to wake up and work for the ever so grateful and polite American public. Right. Okay. So anyway, that's my point right there. I'm being facetious. This, as disturbing as it is, as the rest of billionaires in power, is actually good. Why? Because a billionaire in charge of the SEC, who's also a friend of the crypto community, can only do one thing, and that's strike down the IRS. Right? He like, look, I'm about to go Pelosi crazy too, and I don't want y'all looking at my records. The president don't want you looking at his records. The president's best friend, who also is in the White House, Elon Musk, don't want you looking at his records. We got a ton of people in power who don't want you looking at their tax records. I think this SEC billionaire is next up to put a wall around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency from the federal government. I think he's going to double down with what the Trump is doing and say, yep, you're right. IRS need to step back. SEC crypto, huh? We don't even know what that is anymore. I think everyone's about to play the, huh? I don't know. Ask him, huh? I don't know. Ask her. And we'll figure it out in 3.5, 4 years when you get a new administration. All right. The fix is officially in. We got another billionaire SEC guy in charge, Paul Atkins. Bring us home, baby. Bring us to 500K Bitcoin. I know you can do it. Oh, man. Speaking of the SEC, the SEC dropped suit against Helium for alleged securities violations. As you can tell this week, the news stories have been slow. So I just had to add this in there. It has continued on, whether you have an interim, a new one, or an old one. The SEC have been dropping charges and alleged securities violations against crypto companies en masse, which again brings me back to my old point. There has to be accountability. You can't do investigations for 2 to 3 to 4 years using taxpayer money and then just say, blanket across the board. Okay, not only are we dropping all of these, but we're not even doing nothing to rectify the people we've already harmed. So again, I won't go on that rant. I've talked about it. The Veritasiums of the world, the Library Credits of the world, even the Coinbases of the world who tried to do lending years ago. The SEC has stifled and killed American innovation in this market. And all they're doing now is just dropping suits and essentially apologizing. All right, I get it. It's the bully not bullying you anymore. So for some companies, that's enough. As I said before, I'm sure there's backroom deals being made where they're like, hey, we'll drop this and and prejudice. We won't come after you. However, you can't sue us back. However, you can't go public and talk bad about the SEC. Like the way is looking, I'm almost certain that's part of the deal because the only group and project for the most part that's come out negative against the SEC after all this has been XRP Ripple, which I understand. Ripple, like, we're not stopping or slowing down for no deal on the back end. Y'all want to come after us? Y'all want to fight us publicly? We fighting until somebody, it's over and done with. So I'm with Ripple right now. They're like, nah, we're not gonna be polite. A lot of these other companies aren't saying anything back, which to me kind of signals a part of this deal is, hey, we'll drop everything. Don't come after us. Don't talk smack about us to the public. Let's move forward. You know how America do. It was a long time ago. Everybody forgot about it. Why do we need to bring it up? Nobody was hurt by it except the people who lost their businesses and a ton of money, right? But whatever. The point is the SEC is continually that new word I just made up. I know you love it. Continuing is continuing to drop cases and litigation for securities violation, alleged securities violations against many companies, with the latest being Helium. So shout out to Helium for escaping the clutches of the SEC, as many other crypto companies are now officially doing as well. And again, I want to go back. The SEC as a whole, and I would throw in some of the folks in the IRS, but for real, the SEC, they need to be charged with treason, man. There's no other way. And then the politicians and regulators that supported them, all of them, that is true. You stopped American companies from a new market, from not only joining a new market, but growing in a new market. That is treason. Like, what are we talking about right here? You stopped American innovators from innovating across the world's platform. We could have led the charge across the planet when it came to Bitcoin right now in crypto. But our own government agency, who we employed, stopped us from doing it without any votes. They just woke up and said, because who's a Pocahontas in there? You had a Pocahontas and a couple of Elizabeth Warren and a couple of other folks were saying that, hey, crypto's for bad people. It's fake money, right? You got Jamie Dimon, a private citizen, calling it a fraud and the market tanking, but there's no market manipulation there. You have all this negative stuff, and then it comes out with the new administration that is all a sham, and they're just scaring off into the sunset. I call treason on these folks. I will continue to do it for as long as I can. All right, Jack Dorsey is in the news, this time not for his own block company, but it looks like for the crypto community overall, looking at Signal, saying that, hey, they should adopt Bitcoin payments, which I also agree with. Despite coming under fire for integrating mobile coin payments in 2021, Signal continues to support it as the only in-app payment option, according to his website, probably because somebody owns a piece of it that created it. You know how that goes. But I agree. Right now, we've talked about it. Don't need to go into detail. Signal being the premier privacy app right now, even used by the United States government to tell each other and reporters, we about to be dropping some bombs and doing some strikes on some foreign countries, right? Everyone's using Signal, and they got their biggest nod of approval from the U.S. government when it was sending out war plans using the messaging app, which were intercepted or accidentally sent to a news reporter about a week and a half ago. Well, Jack Dorsey, a crypto entrepreneur and former Twitter CEO, is encouraging Signal Messenger to integrate Bitcoin for peer-to-peer payments, a move that could shift the platform's crypto strategy away from altcoins. Here it is on X. He wrote it. Signal should use Bitcoin for P2P payments, replying to a post by Bitcoin developer Kali, who suggested that Bitcoin will be a perfect fit for Signal's private communication channel. Not only do I agree with that, I mean, doing it this way for Signal could also turn it into like a premier Bitcoin wallet without them even trying. they already again on the cryptographic side of the house, they already have some of the best cryptographic work out there, right? They're super secure, they're super private. Nobody's cracking it as of yet publicly that we know of. I agree with it. With all that going for it on the privacy side, if you decide to actually add Bitcoin payments for it, you would essentially make it a quasi wallet or allow a quasi wallet. That could become the premier wallet overnight. You already know it's super secure. It's on your phone, which most people are still storing their crypto. It makes sense just to roll it over to that. I think their most troubling thing would be even if they adopted it, would still get people to actually use Signal. I haven't checked its downloads, and I know they spiked again ever since, or spiked ever since the US have been using them in those war plans. But by and large, a lot of people still don't know about Signal. I would say the general public doesn't know about Signal. So even if they were to add Bitcoin payments, it'd be one of those things where it's still super early for it. And then it's a slippery slope because with them already having that altcoin and then adding Bitcoin, what other tokens would be added as well? Would it get away from being a messaging app and just a full blown wallet? Those type of questions would kind of lay in the middle of the business side of the house. But regardless, it would still be a pretty cool use case. So I can agree with it. Shout out to Signal, and hopefully that will happen. All right, let me take a quick peek at some comments before I read this last story. The U.S. citizens should be as upset as nations with imposed tariffs. We need a tax revolution. The U.S. collects $4.9 trillion in tax and still can't balance a budget. Listen, there's so many potholes everywhere. No, I know that's not a federal problem, but still on the state level as well, it's just crazy when it comes to taxes. I mean, I'm in California, I know. Let's see. I want to get a new iPhone yesterday. I'm assuming this is the chick. The chick tells me his or cheek. I'm not sure. His coworker just dropped 5K in Ethereum, thinking it'll bounce back. It's definitely some people still going to Ethereum. It is what it is. I hope it works out. Taxes are for USD. The whole purpose of crypto is to exit and transact outside of USD. So let's get rid of all crypto taxes. I agree with that. My thing is too is this: in 2016 when I fully began in crypto, it was still fake money. Like you can't tax something and then at the same time have your leaders talk down on it. So at the same time they're trying to tax it in, taxing out, whatever. You had people from the White House saying it's fake, it's for criminals. You had politicians, you had regulators all on the same beat where it's like, huh? Bitcoin, don't even know what it is. Fake money, criminals, shadowy secret super coders. Nothing along the lines of yes, this is what Americans use to transact. Yes, this is what they use to save and invest. Nothing along the lines that will even make due for taxes. That will make an excusable reason for it to be taxes. Instead, it was all negative, negative, negative. But you're saying you're going to say this is bad, this is fake, this ain't. It's almost like saying like a methamphetamine salesman is bad. We shouldn't sell meth. We're going to send you to prison and everything else. But before we do, we're gonna need to tax you on that money now, boy. What you made 3 million last year? Like, come on, you're not taxing mess sales because you say it's not real, right? So what's going on with crypto? Where all of a sudden it went from being fake and criminal and bad and everything else. So you know what? We need to put a 30 to 40% levy tax on that. Like, wait. How did that just happen overnight? For sure. This is absolutely crazy. But not only did they try to do it, they're actually doing it. Will the US miners be affected by the Chinese tariffs? No, usually the parents of the United States adults watch over their child population. So I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Will Chinese tariffs affect the mining farm and us ordering miners here to the US? I don't think so right now because for one, the people who are in the mining field ordering miners and things of that sort, miners are already expensive, right? They're already expensive. So adding another tax on it, not a huge deal for a lot of people. A, B, I haven't bought one recently, but for sure, you can buy miners with Bitcoin and crypto. So I don't see that tax translating to those type of companies and projects who are selling miners and say, "Oh, some we're gonna add 100% tax." Like, I don't see it happening like that, especially if you're paying with crypto. I think they may be able to cover down on it, things of the sort. So no, in the short term, no, like maybe for some of the bigger companies, right? Trump Jr., he's trying to do the whole biggest mining thing with the hub thing he signed with. Maybe those type of operations will be affected where they expected 6 pallets of miners. And even then, right? Will the president's son be affected? Will he figure out how to make a deal on the back end? I think he'll figure out how to make a deal. So, and not just him, for a lot of the bigger mining companies who are shipping miners of that magnitude. I think a lot of them already like y'all got to remember, there's some gangster stuff going on in this space. It's crypto, folks. People got money. They're flying. They're sending shipments here and there. Like they're doing all type. just Bitcoin itself goes skirts the system. Like if you want to talk about it, Bitcoin itself is skirting the system as far as you fly to another country, you're not checking your money there at the airport, you're not swapping funds and money, you just have Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is already skirting the system. Do I think miners will be affected by Chinese tariffs? Nah, not really, because the people in that game, they already know how to skirt the system. They already have the connections hooked up in different places. I just don't see it affecting. Now, for the average mom and pop, if you just wanted to start right now to whatever, just order online. Maybe it might take a little bit longer to get to you. Maybe you may get hit with another tax, but even then, like if you know what you're doing, I think you should be able to skirt around it for the most part. There we go. Malcolm says still mining with GPUs. There we go. They do tax illegal drugs in a way they do, but not just verbally, like the way across the board as you expect. But I do agree with you. They basically do, especially when they're trying to get you in a big case, they can use that evasion of taxes as a way, like, hey, okay, well, you made 100 million on cocaine sales and meth sales where you didn't pay none to Uncle Sam. It's like, well, I'm not supposed to. It's like, yeah, but you didn't do it. So I get exactly what you're saying. They do tax it when it comes to actual persecution of it, prosecution of it for sure. But now just on the normal, I pay my taxes, I'm free to go. Like that's what's happening in crypto. They're saying, yeah, you can just pay us and you're free to go. Oh, so you can store to me. Okay, I got it. That's how like what Big U and them boys out here doing. Pay your tax, you're good to go. All right, last story, but not least. Um, Again, who didn't see this coming? Like, we legitimately saw this coming. I've said it, I think, since last year when the Bitcoin ETF was officially going through. I was like, this slope is officially slippery. 21 shares files for spot Dogecoin ETF in the US. Crypto asset manager 21 shares has made an initial filing with the US Securities and Exchange Commission for a spot Dogecoin ETF following rivals Bitwise and Grayscale. The last thing I'll say about this too is like as they all start to do these Dogecoin ETF applications, not only are they stress testing the regulatory market, which I mentioned before, I now think a lot of these companies, and shout out to them, they must have listened to Cardano founder Hoskison's, or what he doesn't know is that they're working together. You are crazy if you don't think 21 shares, Grayscale, and Bitwise, none of these companies have that one person to call everybody up at every company, right? Basically, like the communications person at every company or the tech guy. What are y'all doing? How do y'all do your ETL? What did the SEC tell you, right? Because listen, one person get it through, we can get it through for everybody, but we just needed to get through. And that's the ETFs for altcoins. That's why they're all doing different ones. You got one doing Aptos, you got one doing Dogecoin, you got one doing Cardano, or you got many doing, the same things. I think they're working together in the background so that when Bitwise or Grayscale gets pushed back and like, well, you can't have a Dogecoin ETF because of this reason, well, they can share that with Bitwise and say, all right, this is how we can fix it. Here, we'll send it back to you. Now, granted, that is thinking, hoping that they're working in conjunction or working as a team. I could see them working all as individual sales, but I just don't see it moving the market forward. They definitely weren't working as individuals for the Bitcoin ETF to go through. You saw that in the way that they all were grouped together. And just when what I've seen with just smaller projects, like it's everyone gets on the phone and talks in the space. Everyone is on X, email, Telegram. So I highly doubt that all these companies are working alone and not understanding how the others are filing their applications and what remarks or things they're getting back from the SEC or whoever else. So, with that being said, it's only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time before we get a spot Dogecoin ETF, because if not, the SEC and whoever else has to thoroughly explain why not. And I see everyone else going back to the lab making it happen. The biggest question is now is like, when is it going to happen? When will we get? I see someone saying the light. When will we get the Litecoin ETFs? When will we get the Aptos ETFs? The Doge. When will we get an altcoin ETF season? And is it even warranted? Ethereum, I'm not talking about the story because why, but it did make the news today that Ethereum ETFs are now doing spot options or something options on the ETFs. And it's like, wow, they're already trying to do a derivative of Ethereum as an ETF or as options of it, and is not working, right? Like it's still not working. If anything, it may further dilute the Ethereum market instead of build it back up like they're hoping for, possibly. But that's going to be a slippery slope too. Once they say yes to the Dogecoin ETF and the Aptos and everybody else's ETF, then you're going to have options on them. Then you're going to have everything else on them. And then this derivative market goes crazy before this first bubble pops. So exciting times ahead of us still. What's called Dogecoin in the door. They let Dogecoin in the dough. Dogecoin in the listen. Dogecoin is in the dough. All right, they didn't let Dogecoin in the dough, And I think out of everybody, they're definitely going to get an ETF just off the sheer volume and outspokenness of their community. Their community is going to go crazy when it's time to go crazy. When they get, if this thing, and not if, when it gets its pushback its first couple of times, I can see the community going crazy. They're gonna be like, no, 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 this thing changed my life. I wanted to change more American lives and it's un-American and not have a Dogecoin ETF. I can see the rhetoric now. Smash that like and share. I will see you all Monday with some more Bitcoin and crypto news. Cheers.